Hey, you guys, if you like my quick gossip sessions on YouTube, DecaDish Dana, please like, subscribe, and spread the word. Yay! And send me gossip on Wilkie_Dana on my Instagram or Twitter or Patreon. Okay, and the Patreon link's in the description. My tip jar's in the description too. Okay, so I want to talk about an unfortunate thing that I just found out. I did not know that a murder potentially happened in Bravo's land, which is that the captain of Below the Deck Mediterranean freshman season was found dead in his house in late October by his wife. He was the captain on Ionian Princess, which was a beautiful yacht. I don't know if you guys know the specs of that yacht. I'm like a big mega yacht lover, okay? I used to rent them for my big movie premieres and stuff. Like, oh, they were so beautiful and fun. Oh, those were the days. Just a quick breakdown of the Ionian Princess. It had 9 crew members. It could 6 cabins, sleep 12 people. It was about 150 feet. She was built in a Savannah shipyard in 2005, and she was just refitted in 2021. So she's looking gorgeous. Anyway, I'm sure the captain would be happy to know that his boat has been refitted. I'm so sorry for what's happened to him. I'll give you the details now. His yacht, which he captained over, the Ionian, was 45.73 meters. So it would be considered a border mega yacht. It had jet skis and hot tubs. It was built in 2005 in Savannah in a shipyard there. And in 2021, they just refitted the whole thing. And it looks kind of like a mansion with woodwork and marble and gold. It's kind of over the top, but I could see where they would, do that to try to like attract some really rich, regally type person that could afford this yacht. A yacht this size might go for, a few $100,000 a week. It has 9 crew members. It has 6 cabins, and it can sleep 12 people. God, I should do like an ad for this boat. The reason I bring up in this video that's obviously about his tragic death, the yacht, is because to a captain, his yacht is everything. What his governing of his vessel is the most important thing. So you honor a captain by honoring his yacht. And since that's his most famous vessel I'm aware of that he did, I'm honoring it. Okay, let's get into what happened to this poor man. So Captain Mark Howard was found, unfortunately, by his wife, Susan Howard. She had been at a dog show, where you take your dog and you show it and you win prizes or whatever. She'd been gone for a week, and when she came home, she went to look for him in his room, and she found him that he had been dead for a few days. And Us Weekly reported that the police report said that there were weird blood droplets on the floor that were suspect. And so they hadn't ruled it as 100% accident. Now, Susan and the captain lived in a part of Florida really close to the end of Florida by Gainesville. So, so it would explain why. He also, I guess, had blood all down the right side of his face, which I guess everybody's wondering, what injury or how that could have occurred. Did he trip on something and fall and hit his head? Anyway, so this is the situation. Because there was some suspicious evidence around this gentleman, I guess they didn't 100% rule it an accident. And as of November 5th, I don't believe that they've actually still ruled it. I don't think the autopsy report has come back yet. So Captain Mark's body was found above the garage. He had a mattress on the floor in the garage where he liked to sleep, which was unusual to me when I read the article in Us Weekly. The wife, I guess, didn't realize he was passed because she came home and she just thought he was doing his own thing. but in fact, he had passed away. When she finally looked for him, like, why isn't he coming downstairs? She found him, and there was blood down the right side of his face, and there was blood stains on the floor, and the blood stains on the floor seemed suspicious to police because they noted that in the police report, which Us Weekly reported on. Now, it's still up in the air because the autopsy results haven't been released yet on whether this is a murder or this is going to be deemed an accident, and maybe he tripped and fell and, hit his head or something. But either way, it's tragic for sure. Tiffany Copeland and Brian Kattenberg from the season that this gentleman was on, Below the Deck Mediterranean, were sort of in shock when they found out the news. And Bravo, obviously made a statement that they were really sorry for him and his family that this happened. It's obviously very tragic. So it's a sad day for this franchise. Hannah quotes something he said during an Entertainment Tonight interview in May 2016. He said, "This is the pinnacle of charter yacht operation, and the best of the best people go to the Med. We have some newbies, but we had a lot of experience as well. That really made a big difference in what we were able to do and the service we were able to provide the charter clients." According to the Michigan native, although there was a little bit of pushing and prodding with his fellow cast members at first, in the end, everyone got to the professional level and gave it their heart and gave it all they could. Aw, he sounds so nice. Anyway, Captain Sandy went on to replace Captain Mark for season 2, and she kept going with the franchise since. He was probably too nice for TV. I'm just going to say that. I mean, it happens to the best of us. So there's a woman named Norma Treese who is good friends with the captain and his wife. She had been called on Below the Deck a few times, I guess, to come on the yacht and be on the show. But I don't think she ever went. But anyway, she's seasoned and been in the yachting industry for years, and she knew this gentleman and his wife. And she said on this podcast called Gangplank Report, which is done by some previous cast members of the show. Let's see, who's it with? Co-host Chef Adrian Gang from Below Deck Season 1, Chief Stew, and Jen Bennington, super fan, podcaster, and blogger. So one of them actually served with this man. So, okay, here's what it says. I hope you appreciate this because it's like an insider's view.
Opportunity to do. Unfortunately, we lost Captain Mark over the weekend, and you are family friends with them, and some of the reports that were put out were misleading, and we wanted to give you a chance to speak on behalf of the family and straighten out some of what I saw as insinuation and give a clearer picture.
The insinuation of murder.
I'd really like to kind of put it in the context of the greater yachting picture. The reality is that if you spend a few years in yachting, much less many, many years in yachting, as I have done, and as Captain Mark Woody Howard did, you form those close bonds that I talked about that have made me be able to succeed in my business career and be able to help people as much as I've been able to. And so in times of need like this, when somebody has a terrible, tragic accident in his home, the kind of thing that nobody can ever understand.
She goes on to say that it is very bizarre, the accident that he had. It's not been really called an accident yet, though, just to be fair, but I want you to hear this viewpoint.
The yachting industry pulls together. His wife, Susan, who I've known many years, wrote me the day after they had taken his body away and asked me to do what I have done for many, many people. Adrian has seen it. I am all too often called on to write obituaries and tributes of the people in the yachting industry because I know so many of them personally and because I have a far reach. And sometimes people want to make sure that when someone is being honored, that they are being honored as far and as wide as possible. And in fact, in the case of Captain Mark Howard, my guesstimate is that we have reached well over 3,000 people simply from my own social media feeds in the nicest, most honorable way that he deserved. He had a tragic accident in his home, and As in any case, when there's going to be an accident, of course, police had to be called and there's going to be an autopsy. And yes, indeed, that always leaves the question. And I think, unfortunately, the slightly insinuating tone, starting with TMZ and the other outlets, was less than flattering and very unkind. They spoke to me. TMZ called me and talked to me about him. And I gave those same kind of honorable, truthful, loving commentary and told them what the outpouring of those sentiments had been towards Susan and towards all the many people that worked with him and loved him. Did they put any of that in those articles? No, they didn't.
No, just the sensational stuff, which is bullshit.
Well, this is the difference between
I don't think
the
that's
yachting
fair
industry
either. Us Weekly
and
just
the heart
quoted
of the
some
yachting
stuff from the
industry,
police report
and the
that they
lovely
thought
Captain
was
Mark
different.
Howard was at the heart of the yachting industry. I can tell you that. He was loved. He gave back. He was a true seaman. He traveled the world. He attended seminars. He joined organizations. He loved his wife. He was loved by his crew. He was a beautiful, wonderful guy. And then, because of the fact that he spent one season with Below Deck, now they take advantage of that and they twist it. And this is what is the downside of all of these things that make it sometimes a little bit hard to support.
Right. Well, and I think because there was so little information at the beginning, and that was really the first thing that anybody saw, it obviously makes a strong impression, and obviously not the kind of impression that you want to have lasting. And I think that that's what my consternation was from the get-go. And then talking to you a couple days later and being like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't obviously the whole story. And all three of us read the same article.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't think that Us Weekly and TMZ were not trying to honor the captain. I think they were calling out that a man was, you know, who was a public figure, was found in a very unusual, bizarre way, dead, and that the police report indicated in some of it that there were some strange things and that only the autopsy was going to really say the truth. And that is news. However, that said, this man had much more to him than the way that the tragedy of his passing. And so I obviously am trying to balance both in this video, as you guys know I do. Now, I want you to listen to this part because it will give you some insight into this man's career, and it is pretty cool. So hold on. Here we go. Mark. She's talking about Mark.
Captain. He was more than just a guy that drove a shiny white boat. He was a true to the life mariner. That guy crossed big blue oceans on very large yachts. He was a port sheriff in his hometown in California. As I said before, I met him when he came to one of the Fedship meeting of the mines that I used to run. He was building Huntress at the time. And when the yachting dried up for a while, he went and worked on commercial ships. He was the real deal, this guy.
Right.
I knew him. He would get dressed up and come to things like International Super Yacht Society so that he could get into a situation where he could shake hands and be known by name by the highest level of business people in yachting. So he was the real deal, and any intimation that he was otherwise or that there was anything wrong with what happened is nothing but disrespectful.
Right. I agree.
Well, there you have it. Multiple viewpoints about Captain Mark. All I'm going to say on this is I hope that the autopsy report comes out that it was an accident, as it seems that the family believes it was. Unfortunate accident. And, you know, we'll wait and see what happens. He seemed like a lovely man, an expert in his field, and he seemed to have a lovely relationship with his wife. So, you know, it's just unfortunate events. But because he was on television for an epic season that started it all, we have to acknowledge him on the DecaDish channel. Okay, you guys, take care and have a great rest of your day. Subscribe.